violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comment section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Quavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
10 people have been shot this week, including a brazen daytime shooting on North Avenue just this afternoon. City leaders are speaking out about the violence and announcing a new plan to redraw the city's 9 police districts. Well, WJZ investigator Mike Helgren is live downtown, and he's breaking down the possible impact of redrawing those districts. Mike?
Denise, the mayor and commissioner are trying to get a handle on this violence.
Hold on, but if they redraw the districts, isn't that redlining? Isn't that gerrymandering? Hold on. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
Didn't say whether they would eliminate
These 9 police districts. Well, WJZ investigator Mike Helgren is live downtown, and he's breaking down the possible impact of redrawing those districts. Mike?
Denise, the mayor and commissioner are trying to get a handle on this violence. They didn't say whether they would eliminate any of the districts. They're trying to keep neighborhoods together. They talked quite a bit about violence this morning. At least 10 people have been shot since Monday in Baltimore. 2 have been killed. Among them, Eric Smithrick, who died shortly after being dropped off at Johns Hopkins Hospital. This afternoon, someone shot 2 people on North Avenue. Last night, 3 people were shot off Bel Air Road.
God, hey, these super gremlins in Baltimore are on demon time. They staying busy, like back to back to back. Can't get a break out there.
Leaving many scared for their safety.
Crime all around you. What is that with us? That's what I asked my friend. I said, man, you know, because it hit me. It hit home.
We're doing all that we can do, and we will always work to do more.
Man, look at the representation we got up here. Okay. Look at the representation. We got a woman doing sign language, so she really doesn't count. So 4 out of the 6 people who are representing the city of Baltimore and getting a hold on crime are some people. My question is, do we really got what it takes to get the job done? Because it doesn't seem like maybe there's a resource issue, right? Maybe we need some programs here and programs there. I'm sure they get plenty of programs. What is it, man? What will it take for these people to get a rein on what's going on? Maybe they need some Black Lives Matter funding, fundraising. Okay, get that money into productive programs for these young super gremlins to get active in their communities in a much different way, because it's not looking good what they're doing so far.
But you must remember, these are other people's decisions to commit these bad acts.
City leaders are also reacting to the growing number of young people involved in crime. A 16-year-old is among those charged with carjacking a police officer this week. Another 16-year-old is charged with killing Marco Nunez, a beloved Fells Point bouncer.
We did both of those stories. We did both of those stories, man. I'm telling you guys, these super teen gremlins are on demon time.
A 12 and 13-year-old even broke into a car and went on a joyride from West Baltimore into Baltimore County.
Yeah, these are kids, y'all. Like I said, man, sisters, come get your kids.
16-year-olds shouldn't be out at Fells Point at that hours of night alone, right? 12-year-olds shouldn't be out doing the things that we have to do. We have to have...
Yo, the sign language lady is killing it. She's like...
community checks of this kind of activity as well, starting with family, friends, people that know these young people.
It comes as police announced a sweeping plan to reorganize the 9 police districts for the first time since 1959.
So they're redrawing the police districts. You know, I hope we don't complain about this years later and say it was a strategic plan to redraw the districts and disproportionately affect black. Like, this is a solution that they're putting up to redraw the district. How about you put more cops in each district? Then you don't got to redraw them. That's really what it is, because that's the only way to solve it. And then you get more cops, get more arrests, and then prosecute it. Like, stop letting these dudes get out on bail when they doing some violent stuff. I can understand some petty, you know, here and there, but like when you are actively carjacking and you know, putting a tool in somebody's face, like, come on, G. These people cannot be out here and just walking around like everything's sweet.
This is Baltimore, America's 6th largest city.
Back then, Baltimore was a very different place with 350,000 more people.
Site of the nation's biggest.
Why do you think it was a different place? I'm asking respectfully.
Steel rolling plant.
Several community organizations have pushed for the change to better use resources and improve response time.
For half a century, this needed realignment and redistricting is something that we believe as a community has impacted the delivery of public safety.
Now, the city wants your input on redrawing those police districts, and we've got a link to do so at WJZ.com under this story in local news. Reporting live downtown, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
A 14-year-old boy has been shot. Police believe his shoes may have been the reason why. This was around 8 o'clock last night at the park at Woodlake Apartments on Tango Wild in West Houston. The teen told police 2 men approached him and demanded he give them his shoes. That's when police said they shot the child and took off.
Wow. So they got what they wanted, the shoes. Then they shot him and took off. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Fortunately, a retired military veteran was nearby and helped the teen.
Because we have a veteran Army, retired from the Army, we believe, was coming up. He's our best witness. He comes over, he notices the young boy on the ground. He comes over immediately, tries to help him out. The young kid, all he could say was that they tried to take my shoes.
That boy was hospitalized in critical condition.
Oh, they tried, so they didn't get him. Okay. So he was like, nah, I'm standing on 10 toes. And then they just shot him and took off. I mean, why didn't they shoot him and take the shoes? If that's what they really wanted. See, these super gremlins just, there's no type of, this is why they're so dangerous, because there's no type of plan. You go there and you're okay with getting nothing out of it as long as you get to shoot a nigga like that. Excuse my French, but that's literally what it is. Like, as long as I go get I'm telling you, a lot of these super gremlins most of them look at it as if it's something fun to do. So as long as I go get to shoot somebody today, you know, even if I don't get what I wanted, I feel good inside. I'm going to go, you know, dedicate a pack to this.
Samaritan tells police the shooters took off in a dark-colored Chrysler PT Cruiser.
To work this breaking news for you, a Mother's Day shooting that killed 3 people at a condo community in DeKalb County.
6 people in all were shot. Our team has been working to get you answers. Molly Oak is at the DeKalb County Police Department. Molly, have police given any updates about who they might be looking for here?
So you got shootings on Mother's Day, man. This is crazy.
Well, police are still searching for that shooter, but say they don't believe there's an active threat to the community. However, now they're shifting the focus, interviewing witnesses, still working the scene, trying to find information. Now, this all comes after a shooting left 3 people dead, 3 more hospitalized. It happened just before 7:40 in Clarkston when police got the call that someone was shot off Old Hampton Drive. When police arrived, they found 5 people shot. 3 died at the scene, 2 were then hospitalized. Later, another person arrived at the hospital. All 3 hospitalized are in serious condition. We spoke with people who live at the condos who say this happens far too often.
And it's always at this place. It's always. So yeah, we're not surprised. It's like it be happening. And then the place look like a danger.
My man said it will always happen. Oh man. And this is an immigrant brother. He tired of it. He said this always happens. You know, doesn't look like he's fed up, but he's definitely irritated, you know, mildly bothered by this.
Yeah, like if you scared everybody right here, like they scared of this place. You can't come here like at nighttime. You can't get in here.
He said that's the trenches. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Like maybe little bit can come like a daytime. It's little bit safe, but it's not like at all. Yeah, it's not like at all. Because it's a dangerous place.
We are expected to get an update from police this morning. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Guys.
All right, Molly, thank you. So the name of this condo complex might sound familiar. From fires to squatters to crime, problems have been ongoing at the Brandon Hill condos in DeKalb County for at least 20 years.
I told you guys, DeKalb County is different.
It's even been called the worst community in America. At one time, Brandon Hill condos had more than 300 units, but over the years,
I mean, Super Gremlin just getting all the negative stats. The worst community in America. Like, she pronounced it wrong. It's really the worst communita. Because, like, come on, bro. They just lighten it up. I told you guys, beware of DeKalb County.
Community in America. At one time, Brandon Hill condos had more than 300 units, but over the years, more than 100 units have been demolished and 100 are still occupied. We have more on the history of the Brandon Hill condos and the latest updates on this latest shooting on 11alive.com.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Medgar Evers, and it's a very tranquil scene compared to just a couple hours ago where a drive-by shooting just took place. Excuse me, I'm getting live updates as we speak. I've just been updated to the amount of casualties from this drive-by shooting, and I'm getting reports that 2 people were actually declared deceased and 27 others were shot and injured but are in stable condition. And although we must pray for the families of the fallen, we must also praise God for the aim of the super gremlin. If you want to know more about the victims of this crime, make sure you add BGZM News 17 on Patreon at www.patreon.com/blackgenzmindset. Also, don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. For more hard-hitting news coverage from the community, by the community, I'm Janquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
And cut.
All right, dog. Let's get the out of here before these niggas come back.
Whoa. Yo.
Whoa.
Ain't that nigga J?
Nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
He just went live.
That ain't me.
Funky ass
that's
that nigga.
That's not me.
Hey, get that nigga.
Janquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia. Pray for me.
All right, guys. So the moment you've all been waiting for, we're gonna be breaking down this Patrisse Cullors and Candace Owens situation. This actually, well, I got wind of this on Mother's Day, so happy Mother's Day to both of those women. You know, Candace is expecting, but Candace absolutely dropped her nuts on Patrisse Cullors, pulled up to the crib and was like, what, you know, tell us about these mansions and these illegitimate financial transactions. So she pulled up, and I want to show you guys Patrisse Cullors' reaction, and then I want to show you what Candace Owens actually said happened. So let's get into it.
Folks, I'm just waiting for folks to come on.
So she waiting to get the clout.
Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. It's been a while that I've been on here. Actually, I've been taking a break. Hey, everybody. Hey. It's good to see some of the team.
So the way that she has her Instagram set up is basically only the people who she follows and follows her back can comment on her page. So we're going to get into some of the Instagram comments as well.
Hey, folks. Welcome. Whew. I just want to say that I want to thank everybody. Thank you so much. Good morning. I love y'all. It's been a hard few weeks. I first want to say I want to thank everybody for the folks who've just been in my corner and have been so good to me for so many years. I want to just say that the last 9 years in our movement has been hard and challenging and amazing and brilliant. And
so didn't she resign from the movement? You know, the timing of her resignation was very convenient. Obviously, they have mismanaged those funds, to say the least. Whether they had nefarious intentions from the get-go, who knows? The money is a drug, and it looks like Patrisse Cullors overdosed. These super activist gremlins are on demon time.
I'm specifically going through like a deep accountability process with the people I love and trust me. And the right-wing media and right-wing pundits are creating have created an incredibly dangerous environment for me. This morning, I woke up to Candace Owens being outside of my house with a news crew. She was demanding.
You would think all that money she would get the mole removed, you know, respectfully, but it's pretty distracting. I'm not going to lie.
That I come outside. And when I looked at the video recording of what she was asking about, she was actually asking about the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation property. And for some reason, seems like she thought my house was that.
I mean, let's keep it a bug. How did you get your house? Right? How did you get your house? All the families, well, a lot of the families who were involved in y'all little movement, whose names y'all used, said that y'all ain't give them a dime. So how did you gain your wealth if not from those donations?
It's unacceptable and it's dangerous that any stranger come outside of my house, but it's really unacceptable and dangerous when Candace Owens, another Black woman who is actually working as a part of a right-wing agenda, comes outside of my house with cameras. As you all know, I've experienced, and many of us have experienced, death threats. Many of us have children. Many of us are super vulnerable. And the fact that she's came outside my house and demanded things, harassed me, is unacceptable.
But let's just give some pushback. Patrice Cullors, haven't you pushed the movement to pull up on people's cribs? That's literally all Black Lives Matter does. Pull up on your crib and protest outside your crib.
It is unacceptable. And I'm going to keep doing the work I need to do to make sure that I'm in right relationship with my community. But I'm not going to let the right wing and right wing pundits and media try to drive me against my community and have the community driven against me. I'm begging. And
I mean, you're already against the community. Where's the bread at? That's the only question we got. Where is the money, honey?
Pleading with all of you all to pay attention to what's happening to me and to many other people, many other leaders inside of this movement. Pay attention to what's happening, because what happened to me today has the potential to open up the floodgates of many other right-wing people that may next time be bearing arms, that may next time be more violent. This is unacceptable. Black people should be able to fight.
For one, Candace Owens, she's not finna pull up with the strap. This is not the same thing at all. I don't know what she's talking about.
For our rights, for our right to live without being harassed, without being, without fearing for our lives, without having people, strangers, show up to our private and personal property.
Well, I mean, you're lucky none of those donators pulled up to the crib. I mean, seriously, like some people donated a lot of money. Lots of money. And now that money has mysteriously vanished into thin air and into $1 million properties all across the United States and going through Canadian shell corporations and whatnot and Canadian nonprofits. It's getting a little weird.
I'm still in shock. Thank God I called, obviously, my team. Thank God for community, for Black community, for Black movement community here in Los Angeles. I just really, really like.
Here come the waterworks.
Y'all, I really need my family to be safe.
Yo, she crying like one of these super gremlins just shot up her house.
I need to be safe. I need my child to be safe. And this, what happened this morning is not safety. It's not what I deserve. It's not what any of us deserve. So just be diligent when you see shit in the media and you see shit that's being talked about. Please be diligent, because they are purposefully doing this. They are purposefully building a wedge between Black people.
Oh my God. Does she know anything else but to pull the race card? It's exhausting, man. It really is.
Because they know that when we are together, we're stronger, and they've seen what we've done this last decade. They've seen what we've done. And so they're literally trying to destroy us. They're trying to destroy me. They're trying to destroy the movement. And I just need us to be stronger. I need us to be more diligent. I need us to be more present. I need us to be clearer. I need us to be accountable.
All these buzzwords, all this this emotional mumbo jumbo. This is what a lot of these chicks do. I need us to be accountable. You need to be accountable for all that money that came through the BLM Foundation, that came and it went.
I love y'all so much. Pray for me, pray for my family, and pray and check on Black organizers. Because this backlash that we're seeing, the backlash is real, and it's impacting our personal and everyday lives. So I love y'all a lot. I'm going to keep doing my work to be accountable and be in right relationship to the people I love and trust and that love and trust me. And I'll show up like I always do, messy and working hard and trying hard and with love and with joy. And I'm going to love y'all. That's all I can do. I'm going to love y'all. So please enjoy your Saturday. I'm going to try to get back on track with mine. And please take care of each other. I love y'all.
So that's what Patrisse Cullors said. Now let's get into what Candace said. I know I told you guys I was gonna read the comments, but it's literally just an echo chamber of blue check marks. So I'd rather not.
Okay, so this is insane. In real time right now, I am watching Patrisse Cullors do a live claiming that I went to her property and demanded to speak to her. And she's, I only way I can describe it is she sounds like she's really scared. We're working on a documentary talking about all the funding pertaining to Black Lives Matter. Obviously, we know that Patrisse and a lot of the founders purchased $1 million homes in white neighborhoods. They also purchased a Black Lives Matter property. So we went to the property and asked if there was anyone that we could speak to, very politely, by the way. We've got cameras in tow, so there's no way she can, it's all on camera. And we just said, is there anyone we can speak to? Nobody asked us to leave. The person went inside. It was just a white man that we saw outside that was providing.
So she didn't even see Patrisse Cullors. That's the crazy part. And obviously Patrisse Cullors has white security. Okay. I wonder why she didn't hire no brothers to be her security. I mean, she could have got the NOI. Somebody, right?
Security, which is super interesting because obviously Patrisse here is anti-police. And so she's, oh my God, I think she's crying on this live, pretending that she was harassed. We, like I said, very politely to the guy, is there anyone we can speak to? My name's Candace Owens. We never went over the gate. It was just me ringing the doorbell.
This is how I know the documentary she putting together is finna be fire.
Trying to speak to someone. He said absolutely nothing. He started just recording us. And we said, okay, if there's no one we can speak to, we're going to leave. Patrisse is pretending to be scared because she knows that this Black Lives Matter lie is falling apart. And she doesn't know what to do. I mean, people are aware of the scam that is Black Lives Matter. She's intentionally limited the comments. So you can't even comment on this post, because I was going to comment and be like, this is a complete lie. And we have it all on camera in terms of what happened. So what you are seeing right now is the face of a woman who is pretending she's afraid of right-wing pundits, when in reality, she's being exposed as a fraud who took millions, used the faces of Black people, took millions of dollars.
She's probably going to go down as one of the most notorious scammers, one of the most notorious LGBT female scammers. So double minority there in history.
To fund herself, to fund her lifestyle, to fund her girlfriend, and to buy $1 million mansions in neighborhoods where no Black people live. So Patrisse, this footage that this story that we're covering is a significant one. I have always been interested in the fraud that is Black Lives Matter, your fake tears, your crocodile tears about someone politely ringing your gate and speaking to your white security guard and asking if there was anyone that I could talk to because I was covering the story. Not really going to cut it, Patrisse. This is only going to commit me further to discovering the truth about what you have done with this funding. Black people died. You used their faces to raise money. You demanded that the policing be stopped. You demanded that police officers be defunded, but you've got a private.
Yeah, and that has pushed a lot of these super gremlins into the streets. They're very bold with it because they know at the end of the day, if they get in the tussle with the officers and they lose, then the community's gonna back them. And if they win, for that matter. So it's a lot of these super gremlins have been emboldened for them to continue on demon time.
Security detail outside of $1 million homes. It just doesn't work this way, sweetheart. So the truth shall set you free, or Candace Owens shall set you free, girl, because I'm about to tell the truth. All right, we're still filming. Bye.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, cyberspace? It's the Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video. All right, guys. We got to get on, bruh. I know y'all saw the premiere that I did earlier today of man, my mic just keeps sliding. I might have to tighten it up later on. But anyways, I did a premiere on the brother, the honorable Shalomyah Bowers. He is basically the scammer of the day. And we all know that these sisters are in love with these scammer dudes. They love these scammer dudes. As a matter of fact, they're saying that they would prefer a scammer or a drug dealer over a guy who works a 9-to-5. If you don't believe me, then let me show you. Okay. But this brother right here, I'm gonna pull his picture up. Just give me 1 second. But he has finessed the whole black community. He finessed the whole black community. And it's ridiculous that we're standing for this, that nobody's calling it out. As you guys can see, Shalomyah right here. He has finessed the whole community. And pretty much it's the story is dead now. The story is dead. I'm reviving it, and it's not looking good. Okay. So let's get into this CNN breakdown of exactly what he did. We're surprised they're even covering it, but let's see what they got to say.
This is a messy and very public fight. The grassroots arm of the Black Lives Matter organization is accusing this executive at the organization's foundation arm of essentially diverting this money to pay his own consulting firm and others. This is all part of a court filing. BLM Grassroots is suing the executive, Shalomyah Bowers, the foundation, a Bowers consulting firm, and several other unnamed individuals. Black Lives Matter Grassroots wants a jury trial, and they want the money back. And now this foundation was created to raise money to fund the on-the-ground efforts of Black Lives Matter. Well, now Black Lives Matter Grassroots is accusing Bowers of unfair business practices, fraud, intentional misrepresentation, among other things. In the court filing.
Wow. And he actually was ducking and dodging a lot of his peers, a lot of the people that he was supposed to be serving. He was getting back to him late. He wasn't replying to messages. He wasn't picking up his phone. He wasn't returning texts. And I mean, you know, he was on CPT time with it. Okay, he was on CPT with it. And this is absolutely wrong. This is absolutely wrong. Okay, you have people who are donating their hard-earned money in support of a movement that ultimately made no difference and actually hurt the community way more than it helped. But nevertheless, you have people who are donating their money. I mean, you still have the I don't know if you guys have it, but if you live in any liberal town, you're going to have like the old white grannies who are still with the BLM. They're still holding up the BLM billboards and vote and all this kind of stuff. Like, go ahead and vote and BLM. And it's just like, wow, y'all are out of the loop. Y'all don't even know what's going on. They don't even know what's going on. And it's insane. But this was a whole scam. This was a whole scam. And you know what? I'm not even mad at them for doing it. Because we knew from day one it was a scam. At least I did. But a lot of people had the idealistic point of view and said, oh, it's going to do something to change and they're going to build programs, which all they did was build or buy mansions, buy large mansions at that. So, you know, it's kind of a slap in the face to the community. We all got finessed. Not you guys over here, not us. We didn't get finessed, but the community got finessed as a whole because we allowed the riots to happen. We allowed the chaos to ensue. We enabled that. We did because everybody felt guilty about George Floyd. Come to find out, George Floyd was a fiend and he had multiple run-ins with the law beforehand, but I guess that doesn't matter to the community. Okay, we still went to war and defended his actions. So now we propped up these illegitimate leaders, these talking heads in multiple different cities across the United States, and they're getting a check. They're starting their little division of BLM and their foundation. Okay, and they're the director or the representative or, you know, whatever fancy title that they can have, and they're running off with the check.
And they say Mr. Bowers continues to fraudulently raise money from unsuspecting donors, passing himself off as the organization that is doing the work of BLM, padding his own pockets and that of his associates at the cost of BLM's reputation. Now, Bowers has denied the claims in this lawsuit. In a statement put out by the board, which is Bowers and two other people, they argue that this is really about a fight over who's in control of the foundation's purse strings, and they take issue with several of the facts as laid out in this suit. The board statement goes on to call these accusations harmful, divisive, and false. And it says of this very public fight, it only gives fodder to right-wing media's clear agenda of sowing distrust and division among Black folks, and it is in deep contrast to abolitionist values and the fight for Black liberation. Now, of course,
Lord have mercy. So he's going even woker, and he's amplifying the lie by saying this is just an attack by Republicans and right-leaning white supremacists who don't want to see Black Lives Matter succeed. I mean, the way that they're spinning this stuff is insane. And yeah, we got his Instagram. It's private. It's private for reasons we all know. I'm pretty sure he's living a lavish lifestyle on Instagram. But we got his Instagram, and we'll check that out. And then I'll show you guys why this brother right here would clean up in the community.
Of course, Black Lives Matter has increasingly become a target on the right, particularly after the murder of George Floyd in 2020. And even the term Black Lives Matter, or just BLM, has become something of a slur, a boogeyman. This is a group, and their members often portrayed as violent and or corrupt.
Because it is. Everything that they've shown us has been violent and corrupt. And CNN, I mean, she's still dancing around it, even though it's come out that Patrisse Cullors ran off with a bag. She resigned. She don't want to be a part of it no more. Why is she giving up her life's work? Y'all see Tom Brady, he's not giving up that damn NFL. Brett Favre didn't want to give up that damn NFL. So why would she be giving up her life's work if she really cared?
Grouped in with Antifa and seen by many on the right as, you know, lawless protesters. Bowers and his allies are arguing that this very public fight just adds or gives fodder to those right-wing efforts to delegitimize the group and its aims.
That is crazy. So he's still defending his actions. He's standing 10 toes tall. And apparently he thinks he's doing the right thing. So this is his Instagram, Shalomyah Bowers. He has the correct enunciation. He has his pronouns also in his bio. Shalomyah. Shalomyah. I guess it's Shalomyah. But anyways, it says founder of an award-winning consulting firm. Wow. An award-winning consulting firm. And if he got those invoices and consulting fees, I mean, he might be able to justify them books, bruh. He might run off with this pack. I ain't gonna lie. He might have run off with the 10 milli pack. Lifelong fighter of justice, rooting and working for everyone trying to get free. So he just got financial freedom for himself, and now he's rooting for y'all to get y'all self some financial freedom by finessing the system. I mean, obviously it's a scam, him running off with the bread, but he may be able to get off with this one, y'all. He might be able to get off with this one just because, though, if he had control of the purse and he was making those invoices out to himself as consulting fees, I mean, it could be considered fraud, but at the same time, it looks legit, at least on a tax return. So let's read this article. We're going to break it down. We're going to get all the nitty gritty details, because then everybody, like, when you bring this evidence, and this is what I want you guys to do. For one, hold on. For one, we got to stop the show.
You're not my dad.
Y'all be weak in the knees. Stand up. Stand up.
So I dropped the merch store, which everybody was asking me for the merch, right? Everybody's like, oh, where's the merch? Black Gen Z, whatever. And now it's like nobody's buying the damn merch. What's going on? Okay, so need I remind you guys, we do have merch. We have the affirmative action hire hoodies in all different colors. The BGZM News 17 athletic shorts in white. We got the BGZM News 17 dad hats. Then we got this the I guess these are like dad hats too. Then we got the jerseys. So guys, I'm gonna need y'all to go check that merch out. Also, hit the Cash App, hit the PayPal. Hit the Super Trap. YouTube is giving, I ain't gonna lie, they're giving me that work. The way they doing my analytics is crazy. I've been at the same numbers since I had like 1,000 subs. Literally. It makes no sense. So I'm gonna give y'all a little second. I'm gonna give y'all a little second to rock with me. Hit that Cash App. Okay. Because it's important to support these content creators out here who doing the dirty work. We're going to break down this BLM situation. Don't worry. But I need y'all to go ahead and hit the first donation so we can get into it.
Can you come here, ma'am? All right, so you're going to receive a ticket for being in the park after hours. All right? Just need to sign right here on the X.
But because we're out of, didn't you say we were out of time so we wouldn't have known that?
Yeah, but that's not a valid reason why you should be in the park, because you're from out of town.
And what's your badge number?
7452.
What's the badge number?
I gave it to you 2 times, man.
Okay, I'm asking again.
And I'm not giving it to you again.
Okay.
Are you going to sign it?
No, because I want your badge number.
That's fine. You want to put your hands behind your back for me? Hey, listen, my man. She says she's not signing it. Put your hands behind your back.
Sir,
ma'am,
you're hurting me.
Okay. I'm asking you to put your hands behind your back.
Sir?
Put your hands behind your back. 12, start me, man.
Sir.
Ma'am, put your hand behind your back.
Can you-
Come on. I need you to back up.
I'm just saying, like,
I need you to back up.
You don't need to touch her like that.
She's not putting her hands behind her back.
I'm asking a question. I'm just all I'm doing is
Put your
asking
hands
a
behind your
question.
back. Put your hands behind
Mr.
your back. You're
Brooks.
under arrest. Put your hands behind your back. I asked you to sign the ticket. You told me you're not signing it.
Sir,
Put your hands
I'm
behind your back.
asking you a question.
Okay? I'm letting you know. I'm not going to ask you again. I'm going to forcibly put your hands behind your back.
But, sir, Mr. Brooks, is this really necessary? Mr. Brooks.
Hold on.
Hey, listen, my
She
man.
needs to
Back
put.
up.
She needs to put her. Let her
Can I-
put her phone. Let her
Okay,
put
you
her
can put your phone down.
Okay,
Let her
Mr.
put, she's
Brooks.
not giving her attention. Come on, sir.
God.
Hold on.
Put your hands behind your back.
Oh my God. Can I have my phone, please?
All right, guys. So we are back. I know y'all love that Officer Brooks clip. Shout out to Officer Brooks, a living legend. We did actually receive the first PayPal from LS. So shout out to you, Larry. We are going to get into the story. I'm just seeing if he sent a message on it. All right. Yeah. So shout out to LS. Let's get it. All right. So the new leader of the National Black Lives Matter nonprofit siphoned more than $10 million in fees from donors to pay his consulting firm, according to a lawsuit. But the BLM leader, Shalomyah Bowers, told the Post the case against him is nothing more than a power grab by disgruntled activists trying to wrest control of the movement. So these other activists probably didn't get the payday that he did. So I could see why they're a little upset. Bowers, who became head of the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation in April, is accused of paying the cash to his own Bowers consulting firm and diverting resources from a new group called Black Lives Matter Grassroots, Inc. BLM Grassroots was launched 3 months ago. Records show it claims to represent BLM chapters across the country. The new group was founded in California in May by Walter Mosley, the lawyer who also drafted the lawsuit against Bowers. According to court papers, Mosley formerly represented Black China in a lawsuit against Kim Kardashian in 2018, which he lost. Mr. Bowers decided he could not go of his personal piggy bank. BLM Grassroots charged in the lawsuit filed Thursday in the Los Angeles Superior Court. Instead, he continued to betray the public trust by self-dealing and breaching his fiduciary duties instead of using the donations for its intended purposes. Mr. Bowers diverted these donations to his own coffers and intentionally took calculated steps to prevent those same resources from being used by BLM for on-the-ground movement work. BLM Global Network Foundation paid the Bowers consulting firm $2,167,894 in 2021. According to federal tax filings, Bowers dismissed the lawsuit against him Saturday, telling the Post it's a power move by someone hell-bent on achieving power and control of the movement. He said a group of activists headed by California State University Pan-African Studies professor Melina Abdullah is trying to wrest power away from the foundation's current board of directors. Yeah, because once you get that power of the purse in your hands, you get a $10 million PayPal. So no wonder there's a power struggle. As you guys can see, the community is not good at working together. And, you know, throughout history, we never really have been. Javercito S with the $4.99 super trap says, shout out to BGZ. Free the guys, open up the cells, and dump them straight into the Pacific Ocean. RIP to all the innocent babies and people killed by phonem.
Hold on. Hello? Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!
On phonem, I concur with that message. Free the bros, except I would actually choose the Atlantic Ocean to throw them suckers right back where they came from. Okay. Shout out to Bowers. Oh, I'm tripping. Shout out to Habercito S. I'm reading this man's name. I'm tripping. But anyways, let's see. Abdullah is described in court papers as having been engaged in intuitive protests simultaneous to the online activism of the three co-founders of BLM. It's unclear what intuitive protest means. Abdullah could not be reached. It's the most insane thing I've read in a court pleading, and it's signed under penalty of perjury when they know it's a lie, Bowers said, adding that the foundation had recently undergone audits that do not show 10 million going to him or his firm. Well, they've got at least 2 million going to your firm from the network. So I don't know, man. We are in the process of correcting things, of fixing things, and dealing with disgruntled people who want to take over the group, he added. Bowers said the new board did not include Abdullah in the reorganization of the foundation. The foundation was rocked by controversy after the Post revealed in April 2021 that one of its founders, Patrisse Cullors, went on a real estate buying spree, spending more than $3 million in homes in Los Angeles and outside Atlanta, which we just covered. Cullors denied that the money came from donations. Cullors resigned from the foundation a month after the Post article. Later, New York Magazine revealed the group secretly spent $6 million on a sprawling mansion in Los Angeles to use as its headquarters, and another $8 million on a property in Toronto. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to read this article, or not the article. We're going to read the lawsuit that has been filed against Shalomyah. And let's see. Let me pull it up. Okay, we gotcha. We got them. So we do have the court documents that are alleging Shalomyah's siphoning of these funds. We're going to see what type of evidence that they have. It's about 20 pages, which we will get through it all through this stream. Shouldn't take too long. But I do want to show you guys a video first on why the brother Shalomyah would be balling in the community for his scamming efforts. So let us get into the video.
I need a drug dealer and then a scammer, then fuck the 9 to 5. I want the scammer first, then the drug dealer, then the 9 to 5.
They like the fast money over here.
Because the fast money niggas, they got time. They can take you out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Woo! So y'all heard it from the sisters themselves, and don't get in the comments talking about this ain't how the sisters did. Bruh, I'm 27 years old. And in my age group, this is exactly how they are. It's unfortunate. It's not good. I wish it wasn't like this. I tried. But this is how it is. This is the game, fellas. And if you are not one of those things that she listed, then it's over for you, at least in the community. Shout out to Savrix with the 199 super trap. He says, good to see you last night, brother man. I outside, LOL.
Oh, say less.
Shout out to Romer Dubo with the $10 super trap. He says, thanks, BGZM, for deep analysis of the fraudulent, money-grubbling gremlins, Fox leaders.
Got him. We fucking got him.
Yes, sir. We got them. We got them. They scammers. They're scammers, okay? And they are running off with the bag from the community. And black people are still defending this. That's the worst part. That is the worst part. And this is why it is very difficult to take the community seriously, because we are backing people who are taking money, not building anything. They're just stealing from us.
9 to 5, only take you out on the weekends. From your like, comment, share. Y'all know what the fuck is going on. Y'all better come into the kickback. Y'all know how to give it up. Just, subscribe. Press that.
Guys, I mean, I know she said tune into the Kickback, and this is the Kickback podcast and whatnot. Guys, if you ever hear about a kickback and these are the women who are pulling up, it's bound to get shot up.
Notification button, like, comment, all of that good shit.
Y'all come be on the news. Right? This is Hood TV.
I got 0 because I got a nigga. Sorry.
Oh.
Wait. I feel like we're having a connection, right? So if we fucking...
He never home, so he's got money. How you gonna be ugly and broke? Like, pick a struggle, bitch. You know what I'm saying? So, for cigarettes that smoke.
She's salty.
Your favorite
want him to...
Okay, so here we go. We're gonna start off with this chick right here, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, this isn't how the sisters are," whatever. And it's like, bro, for one, you have to rule out all of the overweight, ugly, fat. Like, you have to rule all of them out. If you are a guy who got some type of sense, you're gonna be wanting a beautiful woman, at least in shape. So when I talk about, yeah, this is what the sisters are wanting, Shalomyah Bowers would be winning in the community as he is, because he's a scammer. This is what I'm talking about. Because you have to lack those morals to deal with these types of chicks. So let's get into it.
Relax and let's get it. Right? Or the type of guys you prefer. Scammer, drug dealer, or non.
So obviously lashes fake, hair fake, but she is an attractive woman. Looks like she's in shape, nice body, symmetrical face. So this is the type of girl that a lot of guys in the community would be like, yo, yeah, she bad. Yo, shorty, I will go off on shorty, like whatever. Now listen what come out her mouth.
To follow. Drug dealer.
Damn.
I want him to move that weight.
Wow. Off rip with confidence. She didn't even say the scammer first. She went straight to the drugs. And this is what I'm going to tell you guys about the drug dealers. When you are a drug dealer and you have a girl, the best way to keep that girl is to get her strung out on the drugs that you're selling, because you pretty much have an endless supply. You're re-ing up all the time. You're moving that weight, but you also have enough to be a casual user and still profit. This is why a lot of these women like the drug dealers, because not only for the money, but because they are able to stay high.
Scammer, drug dealer, or 9 to 5.
Drug dealer. I want him to move that weight. I'm your pusher, man.
I'm trying to be on the YouTube.
You heard what she said. Shout out to RB, my homie Rudy, with the $10 PayPal. He said, don't be hard on Patty Colors. She looks a lot like George Floyd. It's a tough life. Like your merch, but prefer a nice polo for the chicks. Okay. I'm gonna hit y'all with the polos too. I can do the polo with the embroidery like it's a golf club or something. I'm on it, guys. If y'all just give me some requests, then we'll go for it.
Respectfully, it is what it is.
Scammer, 9 to 5 drug dealer.
Wow.
That was quick. Oh, you had this planned out. She had this planned out. She's the expert. That's her whole model right now.
9 to 5 is more reliable, but scammer niggas gonna get you what you want.
You got a scamming nigga right now?
No.
You don't got the 9 to 5 nigga?
I don't have anybody.
You got the drug dealer nigga?
I don't have nobody.
I have nobody. Damn, she's lonely. Damn.
It is.
They better slide on her DMs or something.
Wow.
She's taking application for the winter.
I am. I tell the world I prefer
There go our boy Lil AGs.
9 to 5, but I really want to scam her in my heart. No funny shit.
So y'all heard what she said. She tells the world that she prefers a 9 to 5. Not to mention she has a bottle of 1800 and a chaser in her hand, meaning she's about to get slaughtered tonight. And then there was another video where the women were saying, "Oh no, I don't do relationships. I do one night stands." So I'll show you that one too. It just this is the mentality in the community. And then these are also the women who are leading the community. They're leading in the community.
Because who are you, bitch? We didn't catch shit. They heard that in that video. I'll tell you.
Whoa. Nah. He said, "Who are you, bitch?" Is crazy. He's on bad. Hold on. This man, come to camera. Hold on. This man is on bad timing.
I did not figure out who the fuck that bitch is. That's my friend over there.
Oh, you see, ladies, you gotta have a friend like this because he is backing you up.
I need a drug dealer and then a scammer, then fuck the 9 to 5. I want the scammer first, then the drug dealer, then the 9 to 5.
They like the fast money over here.
Because the
And I ain't gonna lie, shorty with the red hair looked like a dude.
fast money niggas, they got time. They can take you out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
But
Friday.
you just complain
9
you
to
want
5, only take you out on the weekends. Take you out all the time. Scammers and drug dealers. In all honesty, 9 to 5's got it because I'm not holding nobody down in jail.
Wow, we have one sane woman. She's saying, in all honesty, 9 to 5's got it because she ain't holding nobody down in jail. It sounds like she thought about it. She has a good head on her shoulders. She went through some deductive reasoning in her head and came to the conclusion that ultimately it would not be a good idea to deal with these other individuals.
So I'm gonna take a 9 to 5. That's very true.
She's taking a 9 to 5 now. She changed. She thought about her answer now.
Drug dealers.
No. 9 to 5. 9 to 5. 9 to 5.
Drug dealers. 9 to 5.
Then scammers. Then drug dealers.
Wow. There you have it.
I mean, I'm used to drug dealers.
You said what?
I'm used to drug dealers.
I'm a drug dealer with 9 to 5.
I like a scammer. Yeah. What's the other one?
Drug dealer with 9 to 5.
Drug dealer 9 to 5?
Yeah.
I would say 9 to 5 because he's working his ass off. You feel me?
There we go. So we got a couple in there, but I just wanted to give you guys an update of where it was in the community and why Shalomyah actually did what he did. I think a lot of it had to do with his ability to pull, if you will. But let's see. Let's see. Man, they only stands. I wanted to show you guys this video too. Damn. Let me see. I might have to pull it up later. Damn, where is this shit at? All right, I might have to search it on WorldStar, but we're gonna get into this lawsuit, guys. Just bear with me. I just wanted to show you guys this one last video. Let's see. Don't do relationships. Because it's getting wild out here. Getting wild out here. Was that on WorldStar? Probably was. Let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. Oh, y'all going crazy. Y'all beefing in the chat. What's going on in the chat? Do I have to come down there? Do I have to come down there? Okay. Do I have to come down there, guys? Y'all are getting greasy in the damn chat. Oh, WorldStar is not loading right now. Okay, I'm gonna try to reload it one more time. If not, then we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the lawsuit. But yeah, Shalomyah definitely has ran up the bag, ran up the sack. He's making a lot of scammers proud. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, he might be pulling off. He might be pulling off something bigger than the PPPs. Honestly. Okay. And then Shalomyah is his government too. Oof. All right, so we're gonna pull up the lawsuit real quick, guys. We're gonna pull up the lawsuit real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I couldn't find the clip, but I do wanna grab this one right quick before we get into the lawsuit. So give me 1 second.
I am a nurse. A nurse? Yeah. Beta! Ramar, are you the head of your wife?
I like to think that we're equal.
Are you the head? Beta.
I am no. I'm an alpha.
Not if you think you and your wife are equal. Beta.
Oh, because I tell you why.
Beta.
And my stepmom thought I was getting an attitude, and she got really mad that I said that to her. And so not even like 2 minutes later, my dad called me.
Beta.
I told my dad.
Oh, poor daddy feeling hurt.
Poor.
Beta.
Don't you think I'm a beta? Don't you think I'm a beta? Don't you think I'm a beta?
Manhood hour.
All right, guys. So we are about to get into this lawsuit, and then we'll end it off there. Let's see. He said, W.E.B. Du Bois, he said, how do I get a wrench? I'll mod you up, bro, because I definitely be seeing you in the chat. Definitely be seeing you in the chat. So, yeah, I just modded you up. W.E.B. Du Bois. Y'all play nice in the chat if you can't. You know, it is what it is. I don't give a fuck. Just go all the way in and make sure you like the video. Okay. So here we have the lawsuit. Obviously, Black Lives Matter Grassroots Inc. versus Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation Inc., a Delaware nonprofit organization, Bowers Consulting Firm, a California stock corporation, Shalomyah Bowers, an individual, and does 1 through 20 inclusive. All right, so here we go. Comes now, plaintiff, Black Lives Matter Grassroots Inc., and for cause of action against the defendants, and each of them alleges as follows. Nature of this action. This is the case of a rogue administrator, a middleman turned usurper who was hired to collect donations and account for expenditures of the Black Lives Matter movement, formerly operating as Black Lives Matter Grassroots Inc. These donations were given based on the well-documented work of BLM and with the intent to further support the work of BLM. BLM organized the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation as a matter of convenience to collect donations and fulfill certain administrative duties for BLM. However, after siphoning more than $10 million in fees from BLM donors, Mr. Bowers decided he could not let go of his personal piggy bank when more than 300 movement leaders, as well as BLM founders, insisted that he resign from GNF, which is the Global Network Foundation. Instead, he continued to betray the public trust by self-dealing and breaching his fiduciary duties. His actions have led GNF into multiple investigations by the Internal Revenue Service and various state attorney generals, blazing a path of irreparable harm to BLM in less than 18 months. So basically, he is getting the whole organization under fire by the IRS because of his actions. But I think it was just like poor planning on BLM's part, not vetting the people that they were hiring. So they slick deserve to get finessed, especially with all the ruckus that they created in the streets. Let's see. Product of Cook County with the $9.99 Super Trap says, I don't know why my dono earlier never popped up, but as always, keep up the work, Gen Z.
Oh, say less.
You already know we gonna keep this work going. While BLM leaders and movement workers were on the street risking their lives, Mr. Bowers remained in his cushy offices, devising a scheme of fraud and misrepresentation to break the implied, in fact, contract between donors and BLM. Instead of using the donations for its intended purposes, Mr. Bowers diverted these donations to his own coffers and intentionally took calculated steps to prevent those same resources from being used by BLM for on-the-ground movement work during the Buffalo Massacre and the Jalen Walker protests in Akron, Ohio. Wow. So they were supposed to use some bread for that Buffalo Massacre at the Top store, right? But it looks like he played a role in them not being able to have as much funds available to them as they should have. So he's got to live with that, and that's on his conscience. Additionally, when BLM confronted this interloper, Mr. Bowers arrogantly changed the password of the shared social media accounts, email groups, website portals, and other organizing tools that BLM had built in its nearly 10 years of existence. He then hired expensive, high-powered lawyers and media consultants to bully and harass the organizers and founders of BLM. As of the date of this lawsuit, Mr. Bowers continues to fraudulently raise money from unsuspecting donors, passing himself off as the organization that is doing the work of BLM, patting his own pockets at that of his associates at the cost of BLM's reputation. Jurisdiction. This court is the proper court, and this action is properly filed in the county of Los Angeles because defendants' obligations and liability arise therein, because defendants maintain offices and transact business within Los Angeles, and because the work that is the subject of this action was performed by plaintiff in Los Angeles. Okay. Here they are going to be describing the parties. The parties: plaintiff Black Lives Matter Grassroots Incorporated is and at all times relevant hereto was a nonprofit organization incorporated in the state of California. Plaintiff informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that at all times relevant hereto defendant Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation was and is a Delaware nonprofit organization doing business in the state of California. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that all times relevant hereto defendant Bowers Consulting Firm was and is a California stock corporation operating out of its principal place of business in the state of California. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that at all times relevant hereto defendant Shalomyah Bowers was and is a resident of the state of California. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that at all times relevant hereto defendant Bowers Consulting was owned and operated by defendant Mr. Bowers in the state of California. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that at all times relevant hereto defendant Mr. Bowers was the sole director of GNF as well as an officer, president, and treasurer. The true names and capacities, whether individual, corporate, associate, or otherwise, of the defendants named herein, as does I-20 inclusive, are unknown to plaintiff at this time, and therefore said defendants are sued by such fictitious names. Plaintiff will seek leave to amend this complaint to insert the true names and capacities of said defendants when the same become known to plaintiff. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that each of the fictitiously named defendants is responsible for the wrongful acts alleged herein and is therefore liable to plaintiff as alleged hereinafter. So it sounds like they're saying that Shalomyah is not his government name and is not his slave name or the name that he was born with. Maybe he had changed his name to a more Islamic sounding name in order to appease the Hoteps. That could be a possibility. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that at all times relevant hereto defendants and each of them were the agents, employees, managing agents, supervisors, co-conspirators, parent corporation, joint employers, alter egos, successors, and or joint ventures of the other defendants. And each of them, and in doing the things alleged herein, were acting at least in part within the course and scope of said agency, employment, conspiracy, joint employer, alter ego status, successor status, and or joint venture, and with the permission and consent of each of the other defendants. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that defendants and each of them, including those defendants named as does or 1 through 20, acted in concert with one another to commit the wrongful acts alleged herein and aided and abetted, incited, compelled, and or coerced one another in the wrongful acts alleged herein and or attempted to do so. Plaintiff is further informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that defendants and each of them, including those defendants named as does 1 through 20, and each of them
formed and executed a conspiracy or common plan pursuant to which they would commit the unlawful acts alleged herein, with all such acts alleged herein does or done as part of and pursuant to said conspiracy intended to cause and actually causing plaintiff harm. Whenever and wherever reference is made in this complaint to any act or failure to act by a defendant or co-defendant, such allegations and references shall also be deemed to mean the acts and or failures to act by each defendant acting individually, jointly, and severally. Plaintiff has filed complaints of unfair business practices, misrepresentation, and constructive fraud, and has satisfied plaintiff's administrative prerequisites with respect to these and all related filings. Alter ego, agency, successor, and joint employer. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereon alleges that there exists such a unity of interest and ownership between defendant and does 1 through 20 that the individuality and separateness of defendants have ceased to exist. Plaintiff is informed that and believes and based thereupon alleges that despite the formation of purported corporate existence, defendants and does 1 through 20 are in reality one and the same as defendants, including but not limited to, because defendants are completely dominated and controlled by one another and does 1 through 20 who personally commit the frauds and violated the laws as set forth in this complaint, and who have hidden and currently hide behind defendants to perpetrate frauds, circumvent statutes, or accomplish some other wrongful or inequitable purpose. So basically they're saying that he has created all of these different corporations and all of these different businesses to shield his wrongdoing, and he's paying himself out with this consulting firm, and he's paying himself out through the Global Network Foundation and whatnot. Let's see. Defendant and does 1 through 20 derive actual and significant monetary benefits by and through one another's unlawful conduct and by using one another as the funding source for their own personal expenditures. Defendants and does 1 through 20, while really one and the same, were segregated to appear as though separate and distinct for purposes of perpetrating a fraud, circumventing a statute, or accomplishing some other wrongful or inequitable purpose. Defendants do not comply with or requisite corporate formalities to maintain a legal and separate corporate existence. The business affairs of defendants and does 1 through 20 are, and at all times relevant, were so mixed and intermingled that the same cannot reasonably be segregated, and the same are in inextricable confusion. Defendants are, and at all times relevant hereto, were used by one another and does 1 through 20 as a mere shell and conduit for the conduct of certain of defendants' affairs, and are and were the alter ego of one another and does 1 through 20. The recognition of the separate existence of defendants would not promote justice, in that it would permit defendants to insulate themselves from liability to plaintiff for violations of the government code and other statutory violations. The corporate existence of defendants and does 1 through 20 should be disgraced or disregarded in equity and for the end of justice, because such disregard is necessary to avoid fraud and injustice to plaintiff herein. Accordingly, defendants constitute the alter ego of one another and does 1 through 20, and the fiction of their separate corporate existence must be disregarded. As a result of the aforementioned facts, plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereon alleges that defendants and does 1 through 20 are plaintiff's joint employers by virtue of a joint enterprise, and the plaintiff was an employee of defendants and does 1 through 20. Plaintiffs perform services for each and every one of defendants and to the mutual benefit of all defendants, and all defendants shared control of plaintiff as an employee, either directly or indirectly, in the manner in which defendants' business was and is conducted. Alternatively, plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereupon alleges that as and between does 1 through 20 defendants of any of them, 1, there is an express or implied agreement of assumption pursuant to which defendants and or does 1 through 20 agree to be liable for the debts of the other defendants. The transaction between defendants and or does 1 through 20 and other defendants amounts to a consolidation of merger of the two corporations. Defendants and or does 1 through 20 are a mere continuation of the other defendants. Or 4, the transfer of assets to defendants and or does 1 through 20 is for the fraudulent purpose of escaping liability for defendants. Accordingly, defendants and or does 1 through 20 are the successor of one or more of the other defendants and are liable on that basis. So basically, what all that meant was this man basically created multiple different entities, and now he is using those entities to funnel money to himself so that it doesn't, once it crosses the plane and gets in his bank account, the Global Network Foundation doesn't have any more access to it, so they can't really monitor where that money goes afterwards. So let me take a sip. This is a lot to take in, guys, but we're going to get through it. Wow. You know, and the community is none the wiser. We don't know that this is going on. That's the worst part. We don't know that it's even going on. We don't believe that it's even going on. We can't fathom that these people who are in charge of this organization have completely finessed us. So we are getting into the history of BLM and some factual allegations that are being brought up against Patrisse Cullors and others within the organization. So let's get into it. BLM was founded July 13, 2013 by Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opal Ayo-Tometi. While Ms. Cullors initiated the hashtag, Ms. Garza and Ms. Tometi, the initiation of the movement, brought together about 30 original members and the invitation of Ms. Cullors and coordination of Dr. Melina Abdullah, who had been engaged in intuitive protests simultaneous to the online activism of the three co-founders. The organization was formed to end state-sanctioned violence against members of the Black community. BLM largely operated as a network of local activists and did not seek formal business formation under any state law or nonprofit status. In August 2014, Black Lives Matter chapters, including those from Los Angeles, the San Francisco Bay Area, Portland, and New York, answered the call to travel to Ferguson, Missouri, to organize in the wake of the murder of Michael Brown Jr. at the hands of the police. This was a watershed moment that formalized Black Lives Matter as a network of aligned organizers and local bodies under a coordinated banner. Between 2013 and 2016, Black Lives Matter grew to 40 chapters globally. There was little funding, staff, or formal structure. These chapters operate under a set of guiding principles developed by Dr. Abdullah, Ms. Cullors, Ms. Garza, Darnell Moore, and Ms. Tometi. Notwithstanding, these chapters acted with relative autonomy. In addition to being a co-founder, Dr. Abdullah served as a constant presence and as a part of the informal leadership body, consulting with the other co-founders regularly, contributing to the decision-making and representing the organization publicly and to the media. This collection of chapters adopted the nomenclature BLM Grassroots. On October 16, 2017, Ms. Cullors filed articles of incorporation for GNF, or the Global Network Foundation, in Delaware. GNF was formed by Ms. Cullors as an administrative organization to raise funds to provide financial support for local level community efforts of BLM Grassroots. It operated as a fiscally sponsored organization and did not initially seek 501c3 status. In late 2019, Dr. Abdullah, along with Angela Waters Austin, Audrina Redmond, and Carlene Griffiths Sekou, formally announced that the name of the on-the-ground activism work of BLM as BLM Grassroots. Following the murder of George Floyd at the hands of the police, BLM received an unprecedented amount of monetary support and public attention. During this time, the work of BLM had never been more intense, and BLM Grassroots was actively working on the front lines, protesting state-sanctioned violence against Black people every day. BLM Grassroots executed the on-the-ground organizing work of BLM and its policy-making. GNF, under Ms. Color's leadership, continued to raise money for BLM Grassroots activism work and acted in an administrative capacity for BLM Grassroots. During the summer of 2020, Ms. Colors, as executive director of GNM, created the Black Lives Matter Support Fund, thereafter referred to as Fund, in connection, or hereinafter, in connection with the Tides Foundation, hereinafter referred to as Tides, to decentralize governance over the unprecedented funds raised for BLM. The fund was created for BLM Grassroots and was to be used for its work and that of the local BLM chapters pursuant to the terms of grant agreement. The motivating purpose for the grant agreement was for the benefit of BLM Grassroots and its on-the-ground efforts. BLM Grassroots at all times have been a third-party beneficiary to the grant agreement. In September 2020, Ms. Colors hired Mr. Bowers and Bowers Consulting to handle the administration of GNF. So there you have it. It's an inside job. Ms. Colors resigned, and now we have Bowers under heat when he is controlling what is left of the Global Network Foundation social media accounts and even local chapters. So Ms. Colors explained to BLM Grassroots leadership, including Dr. Abdullah, that Mr. Bowers, who she knew from working together on a local ballot measure, was nothing like the former administrator and did not have the ambition to take over and run BLM. BLM Grassroots was assured that Bowers would just serve in the administrative capacity and assist Ms. Colors. It's like when you're playing Monopoly and the banker is also actually playing the game, and then he's just like grabbing money every other go round while people aren't looking. This is basically what Mr. Bowers is actually doing. At all times, BLM Grassroots continued organizing and doing the on-the-ground work of BLM with the support of the fund. BLM Grassroots began to take on additional responsibilities with regard to political positioning, organizing, and political work or policy work. BLM Grassroots was given exclusive control over the onboarding and function of the chapters and the chapter-based work. GNF mainly raised money for the work and support of BLM Grassroots. The transition. While the most visible leadership of Black Lives Matter, especially Ms. Colors and Dr. Abdullah, and previously Ms. Garza and Ms. Tometi, had always faced threats to their own physical safety and that of their family, following the murder of George Floyd and surge in the Black Lives Matter protests and organizing, security risk greatly intensified. Dr. Abdullah and Ms. Colors were subject to daily attacks in the media and social platforms, as well as credible threats on their lives. The constant assault weighed heavily on Ms. Colors, especially in May 2021. But they were threatening other people's lives and pulling up to their place of employment, pulling up to their crib and getting very greasy and disrespectful. But she didn't care about anybody else's mental health being weighed on, right? In May 2021, Ms. Colors decided she could no longer lead GNF and that it should wind down and transition the entire organization to BLM Grassroots, where the BLM work was being done. Accordingly, so this is the handoff. This is when she hands off the baton. Accordingly, on May 21st, 2021, Ms. Colors issued a formal transition plan to Mr. Bowers and Dr. Abdullah. Dr. Abdullah and Ms. Colors had been functioning as co-leads of the greater Black Lives Matter work, with Mr. Bowers serving as what was thought to be trusted and capable support to Ms. Colors. The transition plan was also shared with the GNF Leadership Council, which was formed by Ms. Colors in 2020 and included Shalomyah Bowers, Danielle Edwards, Nani Lamar, Minion Moore, and Damon Turner. Ms. Colors was able to step down based on the assurance by Mr. Bowers that he would follow the transition plan, helping to administrate the process. To support this transition, Miss Colors tapped season organizers Monifa Bandelli and Makani Thimba to serve as senior executives for GNF. BLM made public announcements that the two would serve as co-senior executives of GNF and that Dr. Abdullah would serve as co-director of BLM Grassroots. Announcing her resignation as executive director of GNF, Ms. Colors stated, with smart, experienced, and committed people supporting the organization during this transition, I know that BLM GNF is in good hands. The foundation agenda remains the same: eradicate white supremacy and build life-affirming institutions. Between the two senior executives in BLM Grassroots, co-director Melina Abdullah, who is an original member of BLM and co-founder of its first chapter in Los Angeles, their immense talent will build a future where Black lives do more than matter. They will truly thrive. Why didn't they create a bank with all this money? I mean, you got all this money, you have enough to create Black Wall Street, as we like to reference, but none of that was done. None of that was done, y'all. The usurper, Mr. Bowers, and the GNF Leadership Council agreed to execute the transition plan set forth by Ms. Colors. However, Mr. Bowers, who made $2 million, $167,894 million from GNF in less than 8 months, decided he wanted to keep the piggy bank that GNF had become to him and his company. Moreover, Mr. Bowers' ego prevented his ultimate service to BLM, as his name was not listed with respect to GNF or BLM Grassroots ongoing leadership. Accordingly, instead of assisting Ms. Thimba and Ms. Bandelli, Mr. Bowers refused to turn over important financial and organizing documents to them. Within months, Bowers had run these well-respected advocates out of the organization through a series of misrepresentations and unauthorized backroom dealings. Mr. Bowers managed to steal control of GNF as the sole board member and officer. Wow, this was like a total uprooting, a coup d'etat. Okay, this guy completely just, I mean, it's a hostile takeover. He completely took over the organization pretty much overnight. It was a long play, and I wouldn't be surprised if Patrisse Cullors is in on this and she's getting a little consulting fee on the side. While BLM Grassroots was in the field serving the interests of the people, the organization represents Bowers was exercising his stolen primary decision-making power by hiring other board members from his company, Bowers Consulting Firm, and issuing GNF grants to his consulting firm, as well as less aligned organizations who agreed to hire the firm. As a result, there was an increased lack of transparency, self-dealing, and conflict of interest issues regarding the issuance of grants, unapproved compensation, and appointment of board members within GNF under his stolen control. At all times, GNF continued to raise money under the auspices that it was being used to support the work of BLM Grassroots. GNF, which was heretofore only derided because of the activism of BLM Grassroots, is now under investigation by various state attorney generals and under information and beliefs the IRS for misuse of funds, self-dealing, and other actions. BLM Grassroots has never been under any such investigation. Meanwhile, BLM Grassroots and Dr. Abdullah continue to do the organizing work of BLM. GNF continue to raise money based on the groundwork of BLM Grassroots, with knowledge that GNF was winding down. Dr. Abdullah and team began to formalize the corporate structure of BLM Grassroots, installing more structure and safeguards, building out an independent, respected, and competent board of directors, and expanding its policy-making efforts, all while continuing its day-to-day work on the local level. So, guys, we are halfway through this lawsuit. Guys. Why don't you go ahead and support the channel by hitting the Super Trap, the Cash App, or the PayPal. Like the video, which is the most important thing, guys. I read all the super chats. We need as much support as we can get. The numbers are just not making sense on this channel. So y'all know that they're doing everything in their power to, stifle the narrative and control it and, stop the truth from being presented to the people. Woo! So let me clear my throat. All right, I'm just kidding. The fraud and misrepresentation. On March 9th, 2022, GNF changed the passwords to BLM shared social media channels. This resulted in the social media channels portraying messaging which were vastly inconsistent with the BLM guiding principles, more detrimental to the work of BLM. BLM grassroots lost the ability to go live from these accounts to communicate on the ground, organizing efforts, campaigns, and urgent calls to action to BLM's base of more than 4 million followers on Instagram. Maybe it's good that he took control of these social media platforms so that they couldn't organize more of these riots. More than 1 million on Twitter, and with a direct email list of more than 2 million. The ability to simulcast the weekly radio program, This Is Not a Drill, and to host the monthly Healing Justice webinars on Black Lives Matter Facebook page was also stripped. So this is why they said they bought that mansion for the podcast studio, but ain't filmed no podcast. Maybe this is why, because they got logged out of their social media accounts. What was meant to negatively impact BLM grassroots continues to cause harm to BLM and its constituents. GNF and Mr. Bowers continue to pass themselves off by manipulating the social media email lists and website as BLM grassroots, the organization of activists doing the on-the-ground work of BLM. On May 14, 2022, in Buffalo, New York, an unthinkable act of white supremacist terrorism resulted in the death of 10 black people and injured 4 more at a local supermarket. And guys, we covered that story as well. If you want to go read the manifesto, if you guys want to go read the manifesto, we read the whole manifesto. And obviously bruh was absolutely insane. He live streamed the execution of those people in that supermarket. So that was a tragedy indeed. BLM Grassroots was quick to address the moment on their chapter and individual social media, giving guidance, support, and helping to organize on the ground. After requests of GNF to address the tragedy, GNF simply posted many hours later a woefully insufficient 3-word response with typos in the caption. Many hours after the reports occurred, GNF failed to respond to BLM Grassroots emails to address and respond to the ongoing tragedy or seek guidance from those steeped in the political grounding and on the groundwork. GNF's failed response suggests that they are either asleep at the wheel or grossly unprepared to lead the organization through these impactful moments as our community demands. However, if the aftermath, GNF continued to raise money based on the work and organizing of BLM Grassroots in Buffalo, nothing the work of BLM on the ground. Hold on, that was a little confusing. However, in the aftermath, GNF continued to raise money based on the work and organizing of BLM Grassroots in Buffalo, noting the work of BLM on the ground. Okay, there we go. Intentional interference with the work of BLM. On May 4, 2022, BLM Grassroots received an email from the Tides indicating that Mr. Bowers called on behalf of GNF, demanding that the funds held in the fund be diverted to GNF or alternatively not allocated to the work of BLM Grassroots. On June 28, 2022, GNF falsely accused Tides of commingling funds and requested Tides to hold on distributing funds to BLM Grassroots. On June 29, 2022, BLM Grassroots received an email from the Tides informing them that GNF requested the fund be given wholly to GNF and no longer be used to support the work of BLM grassroots. The fund, of course, was specifically founded to support the work of BLM grassroots and its BLM chapters. In response, Tides represented it had recently received a number of inquiries regarding the fund, its relationship with GNF, and its grant-making and fundraising activities. These have come from donors concerned about GNF's reported failure to file tax documents, the source of funds for GNF's purchase of the house in 2020, from state agencies investigating consumer interests, and from GNF itself. Accordingly, Tides informed the BLM grassroots and GNF that it would conduct an internal review of the fund's history and pause any distributions from the fund over the next 30 to 60 days as of the date of this filing. Tides has still paused distribution to the fund. On June 27, 2022, Jalen Walker was murdered by Akron police, which we broke down as well. BLM grassroots, in concert with local chapters, organized a series of impactful protests and other community work in Akron and Cleveland. Although GNF made no known contributions during this time, BLM grassroots was able to advance emergency funds to ensure the pastor Evan Reggie Bunch of Clergy for Black Lives, who is based in Cleveland, and Jacob's comrade Jolly Tellis were able to get out to Akron to provide on-the-ground support. BLM grassroots also provided funds to support the work being led by Freedom Block, which has been leading the action since Mr. Walker's murder. Okay. Wow. So we got a lot going on here. On July 6, 2022, a number of BLM activist protesters, including Bianca Austin, aunt of Breonna Taylor, Cortez Rice, father of Jamari Rice, Jacob Blake Sr., father of Jacob Blake Jr., and activist Michael Harris were arrested. Mr. Blake and Mr. Harris were both brutalized, with Mr. Blake needing significant time in the hospital to recover from his injuries. On July 7th, I'm not even going to get into the Jacob Blake stuff, but if you guys follow my channel, you know what he did, and arguably he kind of deserved what he got. On July 7th, the BLM grassroots had an emergency meeting to discuss further financial support needed on the ground in Akron, Cleveland. To commit unanimously agreed to grant significant resources to BLM chapters and other Black-led organizations on the ground in Akron. On July 8th, Tides acknowledged that this is the type of grant that the fund was created for and would be granted in its normal course of funding. However, Tides denied the request, citing both GNF's inquiry into the fund and additional state attorney general inquiries into GNF. At all times under information and belief, GNF continued to raise money based on the work and efforts of BLM grassroots on the ground in Ohio. Defendants continue to pose as BLM taking full credit for the work and programs of BLM grassroots in order to seduce unsuspecting donors to invest in an organization in which the founders of BLM and more than 300 leading Black activists have requested to stop operating their scheme. Defendants have even filed documents to register the trademark of BLM grassroots using the logo and design of BLM grassroots leader Angela Waters, in what appears to be an attempt to steal the logo or prevent BLM grassroots from utilizing. Even under constant investigation by state attorney generals, defendants boldly solicit donors via email blast highlighting the work and efforts of BLM grassroots. So basically, the GNF, the Global Network Foundation, from my understanding, is taking credit of BLM grassroots work, all in the same name, and it's very confusing. But this is an elaborate plan that I think Patrisse Cullors 100% was on board with, and I think she knows that it was going to be confusing. And as you guys know, the devil is the author of confusion. So it's safe to say, that these super scamming gremlins are on demon time. As a result of defendant's actions, plaintiff has suffered and will continue to suffer general and special damages, including loss of donations, increased costs of security, goodwill, reputation. Defendant's conduct described herein was undertaken, authorized, and or rationed by defendants, officers, directors, and or managing agents, including those identified herein, as does 1 through 20, who were authorized and empowered to make decisions that reflect and or create policy for defendants. The aforementioned conduct of said managing agents and individuals was therefore undertaken on behalf of defendants who further had advanced knowledge of the actions and conduct of said individuals, whose actions and conduct were ratified, authorized, and approved by managing agents whose precise identities are unknown to plaintiff at this time and are therefore identified and designated herein, as does 1 through 20 inclusive. Because the acts taken toward and carried out by officers, directors, and or managing agents acting in a deliberate, cold, callous, cruel, and intentional manner in conscious disregard of rights and in order to injure and damage requests the punitive damages be levied against defendants, and each of them in sums in excess of the jurisdictional minimum of this court. First cause of action for unfair business practices against all defendants. Plaintiff realleges and incorporates by reference all preceding paragraphs inclusive as though set forth in full herein. Business and Professions Code Section 17-200 states in pertinent part, unfair competition shall mean and include any unlawful, unfair, and fraudulent business act or practice and unfair, deceptive, untrue, or misleading advertising, and any act prohibited by Chapter 1 commencing with Section 17-500 of Part 3 of Division 7 of the Business and Professional Code. A business act or practice is unfair under the UCL if it offends an established public policy or is immoral, unethical, oppressive, unscrupulous, or substantially injurious to consumers, and that unfairness is determined by weighing the reasons, justifications, and motives of the practice against the gravity of the harm of the alleged victims. Additionally, a business act or practice is fraudulent under the UCL if it is likely to deceive members of the consuming public. Defendants publicly align themselves with the plaintiff's core values and ideals. Defendants use their alignment with plaintiffs to deceitfully induce and elicit significant amounts of monetary donations from the public at large. Further, defendants held themselves to the public as an entity that provided funding to plaintiffs on the ground efforts to further deceitfully induce and elicit significant amounts of monetary donations from the public at large. As a result of defendants' alignment and association with plaintiffs, defendants have substantially harmed plaintiffs' reputation with the public at large, has been impactfully tarnished, and has compromised plaintiffs' ability to continue its efforts in the pursuit of civil justice for the Black community. Defendants should be made to disgorge their ill-gotten gains and restore such monies to plaintiff. As a direct, you can best believe that money is spent. It's gone, bruh. It's gone. Ain't no generational wealth finna be established. My man went to the strip club and splurged. As a direct and proximate result of defendants' wrongful acts, plaintiffs suffered harm and losses as described herein and in amounts to be proved at trial pursuant to the UCL. Plaintiffs are entitled to preliminary and permanent injunctive relief and order defendants to seize the unfair competition, as well as disgorgement and restitution to plaintiffs of all defendants revenues associated with its unfair competition or such portion of those revenues as the court may find equitable. Second cause of action for intentional misrepresentation against all defendants. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all preceding paragraphs inclusive as those set forth in full herein. Mr. Bowers made specific and false representations to BLM grassroots that it intended to follow the transition plan agreed to by the leadership of BLM. In connection with the transition plan, defendants intentionally represented to plaintiffs that all the resources of GNF would be transferred to BLM Grassroots and that BLM Grassroots would continue to share the social media accounts. Plaintiffs are informed and believed and on the basis alleged that the representations alleged above were in fact false. At the time such representations were made by defendants, plaintiffs relied on the false representation and believed them to be true. Plaintiffs are informed and believed and on the basis alleged that at the time defendants intentionally made these false representations, defendants knew or should have known that the representations were false and the plaintiffs would rely upon them. Plaintiffs are informed and believe and on the basis alleged that defendants intended for plaintiff to rely on these misrepresentation. Plaintiffs justifiably relied on defendants' representation with respect to the representation of the transition plan. In reliance on these representations, defendants were induced to and did continue to share its social media property plans and data with GNF and Mr. Bowers. If plaintiffs had known that defendants were missing using donations and were going to change the passwords on social media accounts, plaintiffs would not have taken these actions. Plaintiff's reliance on defendant's representation was justified because defendant's false reassurance of his intentions and existing relationships with plaintiffs. And who introduced the defendant, aka the GNF, aka Mr. Bowers, to BLM Grassroots? None other than Patrisse Cullors. So, I mean, they kind of, I think in this lawsuit, they really went light on her. They kind of made it seem like, oh, she couldn't handle the pressure of being the leader of BLM Grassroots. So she, she stepped down, even though we all know that she got her payday. They didn't go hard on her. They didn't really go hard on her. Okay. And she wasn't even named as one of the defendants. But, Shalomyah Bowers was actually introduced to BLM Grassroots by Patrisse Cullors, and they don't think there's any correlation to that. Could she be being protected in some way? I don't know. Defendants should be made to disgorge their ill-gotten gains and restore such monies to plaintiff. As a direct and proximate result of defendants' intentional misrepresentations, plaintiffs have suffered damages. The amount of these damages has not been precisely determined, and the damages are continuing to accrue. Plaintiffs will seek leave to amend this complaint when the precise amount of these damages is of defendants themselves ascertained. The cause of action for fraud against all defendants. Plaintiffs reallege and incorporate by reference all preceding paragraphs inclusive as though set forth in full herein. Moreover, plaintiffs are informed and believe, and on that basis, alleged defendants use their position to falsely induce the public to donate funds. Plaintiffs are informed and believe, and on the basis alleged that defendants' wrongful acts described above were undertaken with the intent to deceive and defraud plaintiffs. Plaintiffs reasonably relied on defendants in view of their long-standing special relationship. At the time of defendant's concealment or suppression of the fact that defendant had used donor funds to purchase the home on behalf of GNF and intended to use the property for purposes unrelated to the BLM mission and values, plaintiffs were ignorant of the information concealed or suppressed by defendants. If plaintiffs had been aware of the existence of the facts not disclosed by defendants, plaintiffs would not take those actions. Plaintiffs' reliance on defendants' representation was justified because of the alleged defendants' long-term and special relationship with plaintiffs, including that of Patrisse Cullors, who was the one who actually introduced him because she said that he was a great, he was a great person and he had done some local work for her. As a direct and proximate result of defendants' fraud and deceit, plaintiffs have suffered damages including overcharged premiums, attorney fees, costs, and expenses. The amount of these damages has not been precisely determined, and the damages are continuing to accrue. Plaintiffs will seek leave to amend this complaint when the precise amount of these damages is ascertained. Defendants should be made to disgorge their ill-gotten gains and restore such monies to plaintiff. Defendants' acts alleged above include deceit and or fraudulent concealment of material facts known to defendants with the intent on the part of defendants of depriving plaintiffs of their property or legal rights or otherwise causing injury, and were despicable, malicious, oppressive, and or fraudulent conduct that subjected plaintiffs to a cruel and unjust hardship and conscious disregard of plaintiffs' right so as to justify an award of exemplary and punitive damages in an amount to be proven. Fourth cause of action for conversion against all defendants. Plaintiffs repeat and reallege each allegation contained in the foregoing paragraphs of the complaint as if set forth in full herein. Plaintiffs owned and had a right to possession of donated funds. Defendants wrongfully prevented plaintiffs from having access to 1, donated funds, 2, shared social media accounts, and 3, shared emails and websites without plaintiffs' consent. Defendants intentionally and substantially inferred with plaintiffs' ownership and possession of 1, donated funds, 2, shared social media accounts, and 3, shared emails and websites. Plaintiffs were harmed as a result of defendants' conduct and was a substantial factor in causing said harm to plaintiffs. Defendants, officers, and or directors authorized, directed, and or participated in the alleged torturous conduct alleged herein, and as such are personally liable along with GNF for the tort of conversion. All right. So then they are basically referencing some case law here. Let's see. Excuse me. Shalomyah Bowers gave substantial assistance and or encouragement to defendants for the purpose of facilitating the wrongful conduct alleged herein, and that as a result, Shalomyah Bowers' conduct was a substantial factor in causing harm to plaintiffs. By conspiring with and aiding and abetting defendants as alleged herein, Shalomyah Bowers have proximately caused harm to plaintiff and are therefore jointly and severably liable for such harm as defendants as co-conspirators and aiders and abettors. Plaintiffs will seek damages according to proof at trial for all the harm caused by the acts of defendants and their co-conspirators and aiders and abettors. Defendants should be made to disgorge their ill-gotten gains and restore such monies to plaintiff. Defendants and their co-conspirators and aider and abettors engaged in despicable conduct and acted with willful, reckless, and conscious disregard of the rights of plaintiff, and in doing the things herein alleged were guilty of oppression and malice. Accordingly, plaintiffs seek punitive and exemplary damages in an amount according to proof at trial. All right, guys, we're almost done. Got to take another sip. Oh, man. Give me 1 second. All right. Plaintiffs repeat and reallege each allegation contained in the foregoing paragraphs of the complaint as if set forth in full herein. Plaintiffs are informed and believed, and on that basis allege that defendants improperly used donations raised on behalf of BLM Grassroots and for the work of BLM Grassroots. Moreover, plaintiffs, as informed and believed, and on that basis allege that the defendant used their position as sole director, treasurer, and officer to obtain a secret profit and or exorbitant fees by diverting donations for BLM Grassroots to himself or to others in breach of their implied in fact contract. Alternatively, at all times, plaintiff has been a third beneficiary to the grant agreement. As a result of defendants' wrongful conduct, defendants have been unjustly enriched at the expense of plaintiffs and have unjustly retained the benefits of their wrongdoing or wrongful conduct. Defendants should be made to disgorge their ill-gotten gains and restore such monies to plaintiff. As a direct and proximate result of defendants' fraud and deceit, plaintiffs have suffered damages, including loss of donations, attorney fees, costs, and expensive. Plaintiffs are entitled to a constructive trust and restitution of the amounts wrongfully taken and retained by defendants at plaintiff's expense. All right. Oh, wow. So they put a prayer for relief at the end. Lord have mercy. We finna read this prayer in the name of Jesus. Wherefore, plaintiffs seek judgment against defendants and each of them in an amount according to proof as follows. 1, for a money judgment representing but not limited to lost donations, reputation, harm, damage to goodwill, increased costs. 2, each such temporary restraining orders, preliminary injunctions, permanent injunctions, or other orders prohibiting defendants from using social media, website, and other identifiers of Black Lives Matter, order appropriate restitution, disgorgement, and such other orders as may be necessary to restore to any person in interest any money or property, real or personal, which may have been acquired by means of these unlawful acts as provided in Business and Professions Code Section 17203 and other applicable laws. 4, for prejudgment interest on each of the foregoing at the legal rate from the date the obligation became due through the date of judgment in this matter. 5, for punitive damages pursuant to Civil Code 3294 in amount sufficient to punish defendants for the wrongful conduct alleged herein and to deter such conduct in the future. 6, award plaintiffs their costs of suit. 7, for post-judgment interest. And 8, plaintiffs have such other and further relief as the nature of the case may require, and the court finds appropriate to dissipate the effects of the unlawful acts complained of herein. So there you guys have it. Signed documentation by the attorney Walter Mosley Esquire. Hey, this lawsuit is further allegations. And I would say, you know, you could use it as a strong indicator that proves that BLM is indeed a scam. So if anybody says, oh, it's not true, it got fact checked by, I don't know, whatever fucking weak ass fact checkers or whatnot, just come to this video, point them to this video. I read the full accusation. We have read the full lawsuit, and we now have context as to exactly what Shalomyah Bowers was doing when he disguised himself as Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation Incorporated. Okay, so this guy created an intricate plan to siphon off funds into his own consulting firm. And, you know, he it looks like he might even get away with it, honestly, if it weren't for this lawsuit, which we don't know if they're even going to win the lawsuit. Black Lives Matter grassroots, that is. So, wow, man, that is a bombshell. I don't think anybody else read the entire lawsuit. So obviously I'm not going to get my flowers for doing that. But if you guys enjoyed this, please share it. Please subscribe. Please like the video. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I do want to remind you guys to please support the channel. Buy the merch. We have all sorts of things coming for you guys. I'm also going to do those collared shirts that we got requested from you guys. We got regular t-shirts as well, snapback caps and dad hats and all types of hoodies. We got the neck gator poo shiesty mask, the half poo shiesty mask, as I like to call it. Okay, we got sisters rocking it, and we got gliders rocking it, man. So make sure you go check out the merch store, which is in the description box below. Also, guys, I definitely need you to check out my backup channel, BGZM News 17. I had to suspend. Well, I do have some daily. I do have uploads loading up until like the 13th, but then we need to get the channel BGZM News 17 up and popping, because I'm trying to do more content on that one, but it costs money for me to do that, and I kind of got tapped out with my funds when it comes to this specific project. So once we get this monetized, or once the Black Gen Z mindset, I guess once they stop restricting my videos so that the monetization can build up both of these channels, then that's what I'm going to do. All the donations, all your support goes directly back into these channels to bring you guys the news. So if you're not subscribed to BGZM News 17, I also stream live from there. So make sure you go subscribe to BGZM News 17. I'm really trying to keep this thing going, but it's very difficult because behind the scenes, if I showed you guys my analytics, you'd be like, how does that even make sense? But, you know, here we are, and this is the way that it's going down. It seems like, or it appears that YouTube really doesn't want me doing this type of content. And I will continue to push on for you guys because I do believe in the message, and I believe that, you know, we are entitled to the truth. And I think that most narratives are being spun in a deceitful manner, in a deceitful way. And I just want to bring a light and shed a light on these facts that are going down. I mean, if you didn't have enough evidence that BLM was a scam, then there you have it there. So you already know what it is, man. Just make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Obviously, hit up BGZM News 17 for daily content without commentary. And we are going to go ahead and send it off to Jenquavius to take us away.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Medgar Evers, and it's a very tranquil scene compared to just a couple hours ago where a drive-by shooting just took place. Excuse me, I'm getting live updates as we speak. I've just been updated to the amount of casualties from this drive-by shooting, and I'm getting reports that 2 people were actually declared deceased and 27 others were shot and injured but are in stable condition. And although we must pray for the families of the fallen, we must also praise God for the aim of the super gremlin. If you want to know more about the victims of this crime, make sure you add BGZM News 17 on Patreon at www.patreon.com/BlackGenZMindset. Also, don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. For more hard-hitting news coverage from the community, by the community, I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
And cut.
All right, dog. Let's get the out of here before these niggas come back.
Whoa. Yo. Ain't that nigga J?
Nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
He just went live.
That ain't
with
me.
Funky ass
That's
that nigga.
That's not me.
Hey, get that nigga.
Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia. Pray for me.
Oh, look at Daddy.
He's not my grandma.
Really, Ava?
He's